Alright, I'm just gonna wait for a few people to be in the chat and then we'll probably get this started. I'm just gonna wait for a few more people and then we'll probably start. Alright, I'm done waiting. We'll just get started with this, I guess. So we're just gonna rank the death battles for now. So let's get started with what it has at top is Sasuke versus Hiei, I guess. And I think I'm gonna put this one in B tier for now. Not too big on Sasuke versus Hiei, but it's a solid episode in its own right, I guess. I think it's more so I just don't really care about the characters and I don't like Sasuke. Gumball, please get out of my house. Next up is Scrooge versus Shovel Knight, and alright, so bias of the fact that they did Shovel Knight dirty. So they did do Shovel Knight dirty, which I don't like. That definitely ranks it. I think that's gonna put it high C tier because it's still a solid episode in of its own right. And then we get to talk about Venom versus Bane. see. So Venom versus Bane. Gumball will get to Wario versus DDD when we get there. Venom versus Bane is a tricky one, I think, because I have to decide, do I want to do the Rooster Teeth version or the re-uploaded YouTube one? It's still a bad episode either way, but I think it's better as the YouTube re-upload, because at least then you can see the fight. I'm gonna put it in D tier for now. Uh, Thor versus Wonder Woman. I think I want to put Thor versus Wonder Woman high B tier. It, it has some awkward cuts, especially in the fight, but it's still fun. And it's Wonder Woman's only good episode that she's ever had. Then we've got Danny versus Jake, which better than Scrooge versus Shovel Knight. That one's grown well on me. I actually do genuinely think Danny versus Jake is a good episode. Aang versus Ed. I don't know how I feel about this one. I think I want to put it as a middle of the pack one. I barely remember much. And then we get to our first season 1 episode, Akuma versus Shang Tsung. Akuma versus Shang Tsung. Ignoring the fact that this fight is no longer even accurate, I think I enjoy it a bit. I think I want to put it low C tier. It has some genuinely memorable jokes. It started the trend of Boomstick's finger painting joke, which is fun. All right, now we got All Might versus Might Guy. This one's an S tier. Actually, no, not S tier. High A tier. My main issue is the frame rate is not good in the episode. Give it a better frame rate and it's S tier automatically because Mighty is a great song and the analysis and fight were really good. Oh, and fix the thumbnail. The thumbnail hurts me. Uh, Amy versus Ramona. It's better than Venom versus Bane, I guess. I don't know. We'll put it here. Aquaman versus Namor. Hmm. Aquaman versus Namor just it feels like Ed versus Aang again for me. I'm gonna put it slightly lower though, cause I do prefer elements of alchemy to Kings of the Sea. And Balrog versus TJ combo is immediate S. I would be arrested if I didn't put it in S tier. Balrog versus TJ combo was great. The only issues is that Balrog's model has some clipping problems. And that's not a bad thing. Because they're barely noticeable. Batman Beyond versus Spider-Man 2099. I'll get to Venom versus Chrono when I get to it. Batman Beyond versus Spider-Man 2099. My biggest issue with that episode is A, the fight is really short. Like, they could have gotten a lot more creative with it. And also, it was inaccurate even when it happened because Spider-Man characters pretty much always beat Batman characters, with the exception being Superior Spider-Man versus Batman Who Laughs. And speaking of incorrect episodes, Batman versus Captain America. I'll put it in D tier because at least the fight is enjoyable to some extent. But yeah, Batman versus Spider-Man is actually somewhat solid. I'm gonna put it right here. It has some issues, but it's solid. Beast versus Goliath is not good. All right, Beerus versus Galaxia. This would probably be like a top 10 death battle. This would probably be like a top 20 death battle actually for me if I cared about either character. I I don't care much about Dragon Ball, And I have never watched Sailor Moon in my life. But it's still a solid episode. I'm gonna put it below All Might versus Might Guy, but it's still a great episode. All right, Obi-Wan versus Kakashi. The episode has two major problems. There's a bit of noticeable jank at times in the fight, and Obi-Wan's model is just disturbing. But it's still a really fun episode. The model for Obi-Wan though is a bit too much for me, and while I think it was the Jump Force model they might have used for Kakashi, I don't know. That's what I've heard though. Kakashi's model is better than Obi-Wan's, but it's not great. And okay, now I get to talk about Ben versus Hal. Everyone seems to either think this episode is either amazing or horrible, and I'm here to say that I don't think it's either. I think it's just decent. I'm gonna shockingly, I think I want to put it below Sasuke versus Hiei because they did a shitty job explaining what a Ben loses to Hal. I agree with them that Hal wins, but they could have explained it just so much better. Like there were so many better ways to explain it. Like why not bring up the fact that Hal has consistently beaten people that make Ben look weak? And the animation, while good, I think they should have gotten more creative with. I think they should have given Ben more aliens to use in the fight. I feel bad about doing this. Fett versus Samus, the original, didn't age well. I'm just gonna say that and leave it there. It didn't age well, and Wiz and Boomstick sound like the same person at times. It hurts, but it didn't age well. As for the remaster, first of all, I want to note the remaster is still called Boba Fett versus Samus, but for some reason Samus is on the wrong side. The remaster is pretty solid, I won't lie though. I quite honestly do enjoy the remaster a lot. Bomberman versus Dig Dug. It's not a great fight once again, but I'm gonna put it in D tier. I'm gonna put it in high D tier because I do like the creativity that they had with in terms of having them navigate through the terrain. That was fun. Bowser versus Ganon is trash. Everything about it is bad except for I think it was Blood on Broken Glass. Olympus Mons I really don't like. The animation was not great. The analyses were kind of boring, and holy shit, they were so inaccurate with it. Bowser should have stomped Ganondorf without even trying, because it's just a huge stat stomp. Ganondorf only won because they let him have a no limits fallacy, which is bullshit. Cammy versus Sonya. Anyone who knows me knows I dislike this episode. The question is, do I dislike it more than Bowser versus Ganon? The answer is, I can at least watch Cammy versus Sonya. It's more than I could say about the ones in F tier. Hot take for Captain Marvel versus Shazam. I don't hate it. I think it's a fun episode, actually. Marvelous is a really good song, albeit it might overstay its welcome a little bit. I don't think it needed to be, I think it was like 4 minutes. The fight itself was actually kind of fun. I don't remember who said this, but someone brought up that it looked like Shazam wasn't really trying while Carol was giving it her all the whole time, and I agree that if they were going for that, that's actually a good representation because Shazam stomps. Oh, hey, party time. But yeah, I think people give Carol versus Shazam a bit too much crap. Like I can understand it if you want a better match for Shazam, like I don't know, Seiya versus Shazam would be fun even if Shazam dies, but still. And now we get to Carnage versus Lucy, a match that I immediately think is one of the best things they've ever made. You can disagree with me on it, but I don't know of many flaws with it. The Chorus of Carnage is an amazing song. The sprite work, voice acting, everything about Carnage versus Lucy was great. And I'm one of the people that still believes it might be accurate. Chuck versus Sagata Sanchiro. I don't even know. I think I'm gonna put it low B tier. I don't like the sprite work. I don't like how the fight looks at times, but it's just too funny. Chun versus Mai sucks because of how short it is. A lot of season 1 fights didn't age well. Crash versus Spyro. The models look a bit blocky, and I'm not a huge fan of the song. Also, this one isn't really a memorable fight for me by any means. It's not bad, but there's nothing particularly good about the episode that stands out, and I don't have much of a connection to either character. The best connection I have to one is Spyro from when I used to play Skylanders, because I didn't grow up with a PlayStation. Black Widow versus Widowmaker. It's Venom versus Bane, except it actually is easy to see what's going on. But just like Venom versus Bane, it's boring and it's a stomp. Dante versus Bayo is S tier. While there's still arguments to this day as to whether Dante wins or not, and as to who wins, I think it all depends if you buy Universal Devil May Cry, because that does exist and it has valid arguments. I don't know if it's real or not, but either way, while I hope it's true that Bayo actually should have won, Dante versus Bayonetta is a fun episode. I don't think the inclusion of Trish and Jean was necessary, but it didn't hurt the episode. Doom versus Vader. I'm just gonna put it right there. I don't have much to say about Doom versus Vader, honestly. Other than why did they put a T-Rex in if it didn't do anything? Anyways, on to my first hot take. I don't think that Zero. Wait, no, this probably isn't my first one, but But this is a hot take. I don't think Metal Sonic versus Zero is a very good episode. I think it was fun I think it's fun the first time, but after that, it just doesn't age particularly well. I'm gonna put it right here, I think. I think the worst part is the sound design for it. The sound design is not good. Actually, let's pull it up quickly. Metal Sonic versus Zero.
Hey, Mark.
Sigma and Zero's more. Yes, that's what it was.
I want to bring up a specific part. Yeah, we're getting to it. I think it's this part. Yeah, it's right here. I don't know if you guys can hear the sound or not, but this part right here has horrible sound design. I don't like Zero versus Metal Sonic much. Android 18 versus Captain Marvel. An episode that I'm glad is wrong because I hate Captain Marvel. Slightly better than Captain Marvel versus Shazam, in my opinion. Nothing particularly stands out about it. Deadpool vs. Deathstroke is a pretty good episode. It's like the only Deadpool episode I actually enjoy a ton. Actually, no, No, not S tier. We'll put it high A tier. It's a really good episode, but it has some flaws to it. And this one's F tier. I hate Deadpool vs. Pinkie Pie with a passion. This is my least favorite episode ever. Literally, I despise the episode. I refuse to watch the episode ever again. Like, the fight had some solid action, I guess, but it's just... It started the trend... It created a thing of Deadpool just being annoying and nothing else. It wasn't even entertaining. It's just I can't watch it without cringing. Just ugh. Ryu versus Jin is the A tier version of Balrog versus TJ combo, in my opinion. It's a good episode, but the death is a bit weak, in my opinion, and I don't think there was enough impact with certain hits. Also, 0 out of 10. They didn't let Ryu use the Raging Demon. Come on. Shredder versus Silver Samurai gets carried to top of B tier purely because of that death. The death is brutal, and I love it. Donkey Kong vs. Knuckles, though, is still better. Actually, no, Donkey Kong vs. Knuckles is worse because what the fuck was the Donkey Kong sprite? Like, okay, here's the thing. I understand the Donkey Kong sprite accurately represents his height, but it just looks weird. Let's see if I can find the sprite. This thing. Ugh, it looks so weird. Like, maybe it matches with Knuckles' sprite, you could argue, but it just looks weird. But the fight was still entertaining. Alright, time for the first kaiju fight. Dragonzord versus Mechagodzilla. I really like it. I like a lot of things about it. The models look great. I actually really like that they had Akane speaking in Japanese. Draconic Robotics, while it wasn't something I liked at first, has actually grown on me to be a really good track. The only part that holds it back from being any higher on S tier is the rundowns can drag on a bit. That that pun was not intentional, by the way. I didn't mean that pun was I didn't mean for the pun. Eggman versus Wily. I'll put it here. I'm genuinely impressed that for a season one fight, they managed to handle so many that they managed to do it as well as they did, but it definitely deserves a redo. Also, the whole Metal Sonic wins is a cop out. From what I remember, I think Eggman should win because he has the better stats. I could be wrong. All right, where do I put? I don't know where to put the 7 Battle Royale. It's not a bad episode, but it's not a good one. I think this is the tier 4 I think right here. It's borderline. It's just barely C tier. Genos versus War Machine, in my opinion, is a waste of a hand drawn animation. This would have been a much better sprite. This would have been much better as a sprite fight. It just doesn't look good. They should. I think they should have saved the season 7 hand drawn fight to be Zuko versus Todoroki. That would have been a lot better hand drawn. As for where this goes, right there works. Just shove War Machine and the 2 Carol episodes together since they've fucked. Cable versus Booster Gold. I hate that it's as fun of an episode as it is, but I don't like the song at all. So, uh, okay, no, I don't think Genos versus War Machine works as a 3D fight because we remember the last time we saw Genos in a 3D episode on the Death Battle channel. I don't want to bring up the Kenshiro versus Saitama DBX. Felicia versus Taukaka. I don't remember anything about it, but it had some fun moments. We'll put it right here. It's Discount Venom versus Bane, I guess. And now we get to Legacy match that's also a stomp. Flash versus Quicksilver. It was inevitable to happen, and anyone who thought Quicksilver had a chance is horribly mistaken. As for where I put it, it was alright. Wasn't bad. Fox versus Bucky is kind of boring. And Fulgor versus Sector. It's the better robot versus robot death battle, I'll give it that. Gara versus Toph is bad. And just like Bowser versus Ganon, it's inaccurate. I don't know if it was accurate or not at the time. It may have been, but holy crap, it's nowhere near accurate now. Okay, so Flash versus Quicksilver being slow. I mean, if you wanted it to be accurate to their speeds, we wouldn't have even had a fight to see because technically speaking, Flash only needs to hit Quicksilver once and he's dead. Ganon versus Dracula is one of my favorite episodes. I don't quite think it tops Carnage versus Lucy. The deciding factor between these two is I prefer Chorus of Carnage over the Dark Lords. Still a good episode though. All right, time for the next Kaiju episode. We got Godzilla versus Gamera. High B tier. Actually, not that. Round here-ish. It's a bit slow, but that makes sense given their size, and the models look a bit weird at times, but I still enjoy it. Also, anyone else remember how much they fucking delayed this episode? It was one of the most delayed season 2 episodes alongside Kirby versus Boo. Holy crap, it was delayed for a while. Alright, Leo versus Jason. This was a really fun one. I love Leo versus Jason. I don't know why people don't give it as much credit as it deserves. While I'm a bit upset that Leo lost, it makes sense. Power Rangers are bullshit. Alright, the Goku versus Supermans. I think Goku versus Superman 2 gets more hate than it deserves. Because here's the thing with Goku versus Superman 2. It was right. The main criticism I hear is it didn't need to happen, and I agree with that, but what we got wasn't bad. I think the analyses were. I actually really like it because I think the analyses were unique. How it was more like how instead of being a standard death battle analysis, it was more like a documentary. That was actually fun. I like that it was a documentary style thing. That was actually interesting. As for, and I think the animation was really smooth. The Superman walking through the Kamehameha was fun, and Alive is a really solid track, save for that one segment where Yates just starts rapping out of nowhere. I am going to put Goku versus Superman higher, though, because it's just as good and had more impact. Plus, holy shit, the fight is absurdly long, and I like that. Goomba versus Koopa is stupid and boring. I don't like it much. Green Arrow versus Hawkeye. First up, I just want to note, it took me forever to realize that You Have Failed This City even has lyrics. It took me forever to learn that. I think I actually didn't realize that until I was doing my remake, until I was editing the Remaking Death Battle Season 2 video, and I was doing the Hawkeye versus Green Arrow segment. As for where it goes, this works. It's a bit boring, but it's an archer fight, so what do you expect? Ghost Rider versus Lobo, aka I think this was actually a better idea than Ghost Rider versus Spawn is. Right here, the main thing I don't like is the song "Ride to Hell." I think it is. I think it's "Ride to Hell." It just sound. Not only does the name sound like a generic rock track, but the track itself sounds too generic. But other than that, the fight's fun. Having it be slow paced and focused on impact rather than quick combos is a nice change of pace, and that last line is fun. Guts versus Nightmare. Uh, sure, we'll put it here. My biggest problem is they started a huge trend of people thinking Guts is like the most overpowered thing ever when he's not. Guts isn't overpowered. He actually loses his best matchup. He loses to Dimitri from Fire Emblem. Don't get me wrong, Guts is impressive, but I've heard people legitimately claim that Guts can beat Cloud Strife, and no. And there's no way he beats Nightmare. Nightmare just blitzes and one-shots as far as I know. Or at least he one-shots. I don't know if he blitzes. Uh, Hagar versus Zangief. The best thing I can say about this episode is that I enjoyed I think it has the same thing as Guts versus Nightmare, but to a lesser degree, where I enjoyed Boomstick's jokes about one character in specific. In Guts versus Nightmare, I enjoyed Boomstick raving about Guts being a badass, and Boomstick raving about Hagar throughout the entire episode was just fun. E-Man vs. Lion-O is good. I actually want to put it in A tier. I think it's a really solid episode. And Hercule versus Dan gets B tier. It's still fun as hell, though. It's weird, but it's funny. I enjoy it. Just please, please, Death Battle, do me one favor. Give me Dan Hibiki versus Glass Joe one day. That's all I need in my life. Hulk versus Doomsday. You guys want to hear a hot take? Hulk versus Doomsday is mediocre. Like, it's better than C tier, don't get me wrong, but it's not great by any means. And just like that, I've probably lost all of my subscribers. Iron Man versus Lex is pretty good, actually. But it's a bit long. We'll put it right there. It's a bit long and it is inaccurate, which does hurt a bit. As much as I like Iron Man, Lex Luthor should have realistically won. Ivy versus Orchid. This one was a letdown, if anything. Not only was the fight not good, but they could have gone so much further with the jokes. Like, they took them somewhat far, but they could have gone further with them. And here's my other hot take. Johnny Cage versus Captain Falcon is good, really good in fact, but not as good as people say. People treat it like it's the best thing ever, and I disagree. For starters, it didn't feel fast-paced enough. I feel like it felt a bit sluggish, which, especially for a character like Captain Falcon, is a bit weird. Let's see. Joker versus Sweet Tooth. Man, imagine if this was Joker from Persona 5 versus Sweet Tooth. That'd be funny. Joker versus Sweet Tooth gets A tier purely for not only because the fight looks incredible, but that death. The death is haunting. Like, that death legitimately haunts me. And I love that. It's perfect for them. Jotaro versus Kenshiro is like the definition of it happened. Is it good? No. Is it bad? No. And Justin Bieber versus Rebecca Black is Pinkie Pie. Actually, you know what? We're gonna make a new tier below it. We're gonna call this tier which is for matchups that not only are bad but didn't have to but shouldn't have happened in my opinion. So far we got these three. Ken versus Terry is again just mediocre. Kirby versus Boo. Uh, I enjoy Kirby versus Boo. I think it's fun. I think it's a good episode. And also to anyone who still disagrees with it, look at it like this: it's accurate, it's a good episode, and it was explained better than Ben versus Hal. And then Kratos versus Spawn is not good. All right, Lara versus Nathan. I hear everyone hate on this episode a lot, but I like it. The models look a bit weird, but I genuinely like it. I think that's a good spot for it. I genuinely like Lara versus Nate. I think it was a good episode. Alright, Link versus Cloud. Yeah, there's a reason they're probably remaking this one. Like, as much as I want Cloud to fight Kasumi from Persona 5 Royal, that's probably not happening. That one gained popularity for a bit and then died down again. Link vs. Cloud itself, it's not good. It did not age well. Lucario vs. Renamon also did not do well. Luigi versus Tails. They were doing so well and then they fucked it up. I also don't know if I agree or disagree with it. I think it depends. If you just include if you only use game tails, then yeah, Luigi wins. But if you use Archie tails, then yeah, Tails wins. So I don't know to agree or disagree on it. I don't like Luke versus Harry much, but it's all right. And I mean, it was accurate. Mario versus Sonic 2018. Probably my favorite episode ever. I wanted the rematch to happen for so long. I got it, and it did not disappoint me. And Mario vs. Sonic 2011 is meh. Alright, Deadpool versus The Mask. It's right here. You guys want my honest truth about it? The only good part is the beginning of the is that the fight is interesting. I especially hate it because I don't like Goodbye Chimichangas. Goodbye Chimichangas does not do anything for me. Actually, we're just gonna do a quick change up of this because after this, think I think I might get started on remaking Death Battle Season 4 thumbnails. Uh, actually, well, it depends on how much time we've been going for at that rate. All right, Doom Guy versus Master Chief. Again, C tier. It's one of the better episodes from season one. Mega Man Battle Royale was pretty solid. I enjoyed it. It was a good episode. I think it's like somewhere in A tier. I'm gonna say it's better than Beerus versus Galaxia. Actually, I'll put it right here. Yeah, I think that's good. Mega Man vs. Astro Boy. I don't even know. I don't even know where to put that. I think right here is fine. Actually, no. Right here. All right. Power Rangers versus Voltron is S tier. Why wouldn't it be S tier? Models are the worst we've seen, are the worst of S tier, but it's still a really good one. And as for what else is S tier, Meta versus Carolina. This one's really good. Meta versus Carolina is so much fun to watch. There's also an introduction to Red versus Blue. Mewtwo versus Shadow is shit. I'm sorry to anyone who likes it, but the episode is trash. Miles versus Static. I'm gonna get hate for this, but I don't particularly love the episode. Yeah, I'm gonna get hate on that, but I just I don't even know if I can put it into words right now. I just don't like it. Something about it feels off. It's not bad, but it's not great. Actually, I are we gonna? No, we're not gonna do thumbnails today. We'll do thumbnails in February, I guess. Let's see. Tatsumaki versus Mob. Yeah, that was pretty good. I actually like how they had three distinct visual styles used throughout it, because the you had the sprite parts, you had the hand drawn parts similar to the original webcomic, and then you had the good looking hand drawn stuff. All right, time for another hot take. Naruto vs Ichigo is not good. My reasoning: most of the episode is mediocre, and I cannot tell what's going on during the fight for the life of me. Just too much goes on at once in the fight, and it's hard to understand what's even going on. It was especially hard on me the first time I watched it because I was unfamiliar with both characters, so so I finished the episode and was just wondering what the fuck did I watch? Natsu versus Ace. I actually like it more because okay, so Natsu versus Ace I disagree with, but I think it was fun to watch, and I can see where they went wrong with it. Because they probably saw Ace is made of fire, Natsu eats fire. Oh, Natsu has to win, even though Ace outstats pretty easily. But yeah, Ace should have won. But I especially like they had the dynamic lighting scene where they were in the fire. That was fun, just watching the shadows, how they just had the shadows move around, and you could still get good action out of it. Nightwing versus Daredevil isn't good. Nothing about Nightwing versus Daredevil is good. It's not horrible, but it certainly isn't great. All right, Optimus versus Gundam is A tier in my opinion. It's really good, but it's not S tier for me. I don't know why. I just don't feel like it belongs in S tier. Pikachu versus Blanca is hot garbage. All right, Frank versus Leon. I don't know why this episode happened, but it was fun. It was a fun episode. Nothing more I can say. Pokemon Battle Royale was meh. There's a lot of episodes for me that are just like meh. All right, Pokemon versus Digimon. My opinion for Pokemon versus Digimon has fluctuated heavily over the years. At first, when it first happened, I loved it. I thought it was incredible. Then over time, I began to hate it because I grew into a phase where I was biased towards loving Pokemon. Now, I do think I get ironic enjoyment out of the unnecessarily brutal death. Like just the irony of how unnecessarily brutal the death is. Just the irony of it makes it is just so fun. It's just so funny how unnecessarily brutal the death is. Ragna versus Soul had good action, and that's it. I don't know why they had Soul speaking in Japanese, but Ragna speaking in English. That wasn't necessary. I think Soul has spoken in English before. But whatever. It was solid. Ratchet and Clank versus Jack and Daxter. The models look alright. I like it for the most part, but it's not perfect. It's the worst of the two duo fights, in my opinion. God, at this rate, with the track record that they have with duo fights, I have high hopes for when they do Banjo and Kazooie versus Yuka and Laylee. I have high hopes that that'll be good. Raven versus Twilight. Hot take? I think it's a good episode. A lot of people dog on it, but I do actually genuinely like it. I genuinely enjoy it. Rogue versus Wonder Woman is quite possibly one of the worst episodes ever made. It was inaccurate at the time, it's still inaccurate, and it just doesn't look good. Jiraiya versus Roshi, or Roshi versus Jiraiya, I guess. That it's an episode that I didn't think I would have a lot of fun watching, but ooh boy, that one I made a mistake not expecting it to be good. It was fun as hell. This one just goes in the area of I don't remember shit about what happened. Ryu versus Scorpion is pretty good. All right, Jack versus Afro. Given the match, I wasn't expecting this to be as good as it is, but it's really good. And then we get to Sindel versus Black Canary, which just is not good. Why? Why? Okay, I know why this episode happened. It's basically a legacy match, but or it kind of is, but not really. But I don't really like it at all. I don't really like it. Zuko versus Todoroki. All right, I'm not gonna make a hot take that it's better than Miles versus Static because it's not. I'm gonna say it's right here because I love because I love everything about it except the analysis and a majority of the fight. And oh my god, it has one of my favorite tracks ever. I'm also a bit biased because I like the matchup as a whole. I'm like, I get why some people hate it. I've heard some people hate it because they think it's a stupid matchup, but like, come on, it makes sense. Todoroki and Zuko are kind of the same character. Todoroki is basically just Zuko but with ice. The biggest problem I have is they didn't capture modern Todoroki. Like, why not have him? Like, they could have still started Zuko instigating the fight. I think I heard this somewhere else of having it be where Zuko sees Todoroki using multiple elements and assumes he might be some sort of descendant of the Avatar and wants to test his skill out as a result. I don't know, but I feel like they could have handled it better. It had so much potential. Would have been better if it were hand drawn. And then Sephiroth versus Virgil is an episode I don't care about. It's fine. I don't care for the matchup. Also, does anyone else think the thumbnail just looks stupid? Uh, Bison versus Khan. You know the drill. She-Ra versus Wonder Woman is actually F tier. Did you expect to see a season 7 episode in F tier? Because you get to see one. The episode is trash. Batman vs. Black Panther isn't bad, it's just boring. That's all it is, really. It's just boring. Smokey vs. McGruff. I understand. Okay, so with Smokey vs. McGruff, I can get why they did it. They did it because I think if I remember correctly, I believe I believe it was the Smokey Bear Foundation actually, like the people, like the company that owns Smokey Bear actually like sponsored Death Battle. I think they did in order to do it because there was an advertisement at the end for it. But the episode didn't need to happen, and I don't even enjoy it. Snake versus Sam is god tier. Somehow a season 2 episode is still one of the best episodes they've ever made. Also it uses music from Shin Megami Tensei. I believe it's Shin Megami Tensei 4. Or if I'm remembering correctly, I could be wrong, but I think it uses music from Shin Megami Tensei 4. And if it does, I just want to see. I think it does, right? Where's Snake versus Sam? Yeah, they used music from the not Shin Megami Tensei 4. They used it from Digital Devil Saga 2. Still though, any episode that uses music from a Shin Megami Tensei game, that gets bonus points. Pit versus Sora is just boring. Goro versus oh yeah, by the way, there's arguments now that Pit might win because Kingdom Hearts got nerfed. Like it got a huge nerf, and I find that fucking hilarious. Goro versus Machamp, the animation is like the fight is like the only good thing about it. Don't get me wrong, that still gets it pretty high, but it's not getting any higher than where it is. Starscream versus Rainbow Dash had no reason to happen. All right, this is the episode that I probably will have to spend my entire life talking about, and probably everyone wanted to see. Doctor Strange versus Doctor Fate. After all, my name is Strange Fate. So that means I have to think that this is like the best episode of Death Battle ever, right? No. I don't think that Doctor Strange versus Doctor Fate is the best episode ever. Do I think it's a bad episode? No, I think it's a very good episode. Look, my name being Strange Fate though has nothing to do with has nothing to do with Doctor Strange versus Doctor Fate. I'll pull it up real quick what it's actually based on. This is what it's actually based on because here's a better image of it. I do actually own a copy of this, and this was the first comic I ever read. I own it. This is what it's actually based on for anyone wondering. So, yeah, if you're wondering what the origin of my name is, there you go. Sub-Zero vs. Glacius bores me to death. TMNT Battle Royale is bad because they they bastardized the characters so much. RoboCop versus Terminator. This suffers from a case of Goku versus Superman. It was great at the time, but it hasn't aged well. And Thanos versus Darkseid is a big letdown. Yeah, this is a bad opinion, but I don't like Thanos versus Darkseid. It is a huge letdown in my opinion. Like, it's just a huge letdown. Simple as that. Gray versus Esdeath. I think it's alright. It's not bad, but it's not amazing. I used to think it was, like, one of the best episodes of Season 7 ever. Now I think it's still solid, but not amazing. Thor versus Raiden. I almost want to put this in. This is stupid because it's a stupid idea for a matchup. It's literally so unless you use unrestricted, even if you use even if you give Raiden his unrestricted Elder Gods powers, he still gets stomped by Thor. It's just so unfair. No matter how you try and make it fair, it's nowhere near fair. But at the same time, I think that gives it some charm almost. Just so unfair that it's actually funny. Tiger Zord versus Gundam Epion is good. Somehow they've always been solid when it comes to kaiju fights. Like, when it comes to doing kaiju fights, they always manage to do them well. Alright, Tracer versus Scout. I don't want to get into whether or not Tracer versus Scout is accurate or not, because that's a discussion for an entire that could be its own video in its entirety. Is it actually right? I won't do that because it's stupid, but I think it's a good episode. I think it's solid. Even if the reasoning for Tracer winning is stupid, as yeah, they did downplay Scout a lot. Ultron versus Sigma is a really fucking good episode. It's an episode I never knew I wanted, but turned out really good. I love it. Vegeta versus Shadow is alright, I guess. Ooh, we're almost done. Alright, Weiss versus Mitsuru. I am biased, I like both characters. So and I love the episode as a whole. I am putting it in high A tier. I am very biased towards this episode. I love both characters a lot, and I just think the episode is really good. Call me biased if you want. I don't care. I like it. Winter Soldier versus Red Hood. A huge step up from Nightwing versus Daredevil. Wait, why is Nightwing versus Daredevil better than Thanos versus Darkseid? It's not. Thanos versus Darkseid. Did I even put any effort into placing it? It goes right. We'll put it right there. That's fun. That's fine for me. Okay, where did you just... Oh, here's Winter Soldier versus Red Hood. This one's high A tier for me. I like this one. This one's actually S tier in my opinion. I really think this is a really solid episode. It's a huge step up from Nightwing versus Daredevil. Sure, the Killing Blow could be better, but that's the only problem I have with it. Wolverine versus Raiden. Uh, think of it as a better version. Think of it as suffering from Hulk versus Doomsday problem. It just looks a bit weird at times, I think. I don't know. Something about it just screams. I can't put it in anything higher than low B tier, but it's still solid. I actually really like Yang versus Tifa. Like, I know that's probably a hot take, but I really do like the episode. Yang versus Tifa do be good in my opinion. It was wrong, but okay, just because an episode's wrong doesn't automatically make it bad. It's just usually wrong episodes can be bad. But some episodes that are wrong but some episodes that are wrong are also good. I'm trying to find an example. Oh, here's one. Iron Man vs. Lex Luthor. That one's wrong, and yet people, including myself, love it. Yoshi vs. Riptor is stupid. Okay, real talk, why did they do Yoshi vs. Riptor? I don't even get, what are even the connections between the two? I don't get it. Like, I don't get the connections. Let's see what the Death Battle wiki says. Because I don't even get the connections between the two. The connections is that they are both dinosaurs that appear in video games, but both are polar opposites, with one being a kid-friendly and one being a killer machine. That's the connections? Those connections aren't good. Those connections are trash. It doesn't even have good connections. The connections are basically video game dinosaurs. If Riptor should come back, Riptor needs to come back for an actual connection episode. If you ask me who, I will probably always end up responding with SCP-939. Anyways, Zelda versus Peach. Yeah, that's fine. Zitz versus Leonardo is mediocre. Or not even mediocre, it's just bad, but again, season 1. What are you gonna do about it? Zoro versus Urza. I hear people constantly give this praise, and while it's good, that's all it is. It's a good episode, I guess. Alright, Flash versus Wally West. Alright, Wally West versus Archie Sonic. I almost just said Flash versus Wally West. Wally West versus Archie Sonic. I don't even know. Do I like it? Do I not like it? I don't fucking know. I'm just going to put it... Here, you know where we'll put it? We'll put it here with the other Flash episode. There you go. Hopefully nobody will kill me over that. Venom versus Krona. I used to be biased towards thinking this episode was was one of the best episodes ever because I like Soul Eater a lot, but in reality it's not that great. It's not bad, it's good. That's all I'll say. Wario versus DDD. Alright, Gumball, if you're still here, I'm about to talk about Wario versus DDD. I think it's a fine episode. I don't think it's S tier worthy. Everyone calls it S tier worthy. I'm not going to submit to the memes of the Discord I'm in. It's not S tier worthy, but it's solid. It's solid in of its own right. That's it. There, I've talked about it. Saberwolf versus John Talbane was an episode I really wanted and did not disappoint me. It's a bit weaker. It's a bit of a weaker version of Carnage versus Lucy, in my opinion. All right, Red versus Blue was a huge letdown. It's like Thanos it's like Thanos versus Darkseid, in my opinion. It was a huge letdown, and just like Thanos versus Darkseid, it was obvious who would win. Anyways, oh no, oh no, I have to bring up an episode. Anyone who's in the same Discord as me knows what I think. I like this episode because I looked for positives and I found quite a lot. I genuinely like this episode a lot. I won't deny that it has its flaws, but I genuinely like it. I've always been biased towards loving the matchup, so when it was announced, I was excited, and as a result, while watching, I just kept looking for positives. I feel like everyone kept looking for negatives, but I just looked for the positives, and I did find a decent amount. Actually, ooh, video topic one day. Why I like Batgirl versus Spider-Gwen. I might actually do that. Rock Lee versus Sanji is automatically the worst thing ever because the thumbnail. Why are they both Why is Lee staring into my soul? I don't like it. Okay, but real talk, this episode wasn't good. I don't like it at all. And Hulk versus Broly. No, first, no, stay there. Hulk versus Broly is S tier. I would, if I put it anywhere other than S tier, I'll get circumcised, even though I already am. But I think the question is where. The answer is right there. And there's my tier list. The S tier, well, we'll go over the S tiers, I guess. Once again, the S tier ones are Mario vs Sonic 2018, Carnage versus Lucy, John Talbane versus Saberwolf, or Saberwolf versus John Talbane, however you want to call it. Samurai Jack versus Afro, Ganon versus Drac, Snake versus Sam, Meta versus Carolina, Leo versus Jason, Ultron versus Sigma, Balrog versus TJ, Dante versus Bayo, Dragonzord versus Mechagodzilla, uh, Bucky versus Jason, Hulk versus Broly, and Power Rangers versus Voltron. Next time I do a stream, I'll probably stream again later today doing some Smash. Not sure. Maybe I'll do something else. Maybe I'll stream Among Us with some friends or something. Who knows? Anyways, yeah, that's it. Anyways, I'm gonna end the stream there.